Today we got a shorter tutorial, but still probably long because I don't know what the meaning of the word short is. So get your popcorn and your pop and sit down and enjoy. Today we're going to talk about forage harvesters. All right, so you guys have seen a regular combine harvester. We'll pull out this one just to do it. And you're looking at these forage harvesters and going, what the heck are they? Now, back in the day when I first started playing this game, back in version 15, they lumped one forage harvester, with a bunch of combine harvesters. And I bought it thinking, because it was the most expensive and it was at the top of the list, I thought, wow, this must be the best harvester ever. It even looks different. It's so like futuristic looking, because these regular harvesters have a big honking pipe, as you can see here, and they're big and bulky, and they're just kind of, bulky looking. And then you have this, very distinctive looking scorpion-tailed small harvester, and I thought, wow, that thing's going to be really fast and cool and great harvester. Not knowing at all what this was. It is a completely different piece of equipment. Now, thankfully, in the last few iterations of Farm Sim, Giants has not only included one forage harvester, they now have like 6 or 7 included in the game, and then you get a bunch more through the mod hub. They've split the category out so that they're no longer part of the harvester category. While technically they are a harvester, they're not a combine. They are a completely different unit. So this combine harvester is for getting, so a little explanation. Obviously the plant grows and it has a stalk, and then at the top of the stalk are a bunch of little seeds, and that's how, it is, berries for the soybeans and for canola. That's how wheat grows. Wheat, especially like wheat, barley, oats, and sorghum, the seeds are at the top. They're basically grass with grass seeds at the top. And this kind of combine harvester takes that and it chops it down to the ground. And as it goes through the harvester has a shaker that shakes those seeds loose, and those seeds break off and they go up into the upper hopper, and they get stored inside this harvester. And then you dump them off into a tipper, and then that tipper takes them, or usually an auger wagon in the United States. You dump them off into an auger, and then that auger wagon takes it over to a tipper or a semi-truck, and they either sell them or they put them in storage in a facility. So, but anyway, this thing holds about, I think this one maybe 10,000 liters, 8,000 liters, something like that. But each of them holds some amount of grain inside there. And then the remainder of the stalk comes out the back and gets left in a pile, and you can make straw out of that. Or if it's not that type of crop, if it's like soybean or canola, it'll leave a trail. Well, that's a completely different thing than our chop harvester or forage harvester. They call it a forager, they call it a chopper, and the whole point of this is to destroy the crop and turn it into what's known as chaff, okay? And that chaff you will take and you're going to store it in a ground-based silo, and you're going to get a tractor and you're going to smush it up, and once it's all smushed up, you're going to cover it and it's going to ferment, and a couple days, months later, you're going to have a giant pile of silage, which you're going to use in your total mixed ration to feed your cows. So if you have a big cattle farm, cow farm type thing, this forage harvester, or any of the branded forage harvester, you don't have to get the John Deere one, but I did because people like John Deere. Any of these forage harvesters will do, and you're going to use them to chop up all kinds of different stuff. Now, the amazing thing about the forage harvester is it doesn't do just grass. Like, you can use grass, you can use corn, you can use regular crops. They do what's called whole cropping, where you just destroy the crop. And I'm going to show you how to do all of those things with this harvester. It comes with several different heads. Let's take a look at those real quick. When you go into your menu, you're going to see there's harvester headers, and you'll see that there's also forage harvester headers. So there's the headers, corn headers, and forage harvester headers. And here we have a couple. Here's an interesting thing. This one actually can chop. It adds an attachment to your tractor And what's cool about this one is you can see this is new for the game. It's got a forward attacher on the front here. You can actually use some of those attachments on the front of that. You can do all the attachments that these forage harvesters do, but with a really big tractor. However, I would recommend that you get a really big, like probably 400 or 500 horsepower tractor to run this. In fact, what is the minimum rating on this? Does it say? It doesn't say. Now, that's bizarre. Usually they have a minimum horsepower requirement. But considering forage harvesters are 600-700 horsepower, I'd say you're probably going to need a pretty beefy forager to use this. But that's weird. That's kind of neat. You can hook it. Like I said, we can even, maybe we'll try this one out too and just see how it works. Let's grab one while we're here. Okay. Once again, these are the headers, and you'll see a bunch of different ones for different brands. We're going to grab the John Deere kit. First of all, we have the 390 Plus. Now, Kemper is a company that makes these. So Kemper's got one made for John Deere. They've got one made for New Holland. They've got just a regular Kemper one. These are all the same header, okay? So if you want to buy the red one for your John Deere, you can get that. If you want to buy the John Deere yellow, you can get that. So we're going to grab that. I don't know what this is for. Supports and transports the Kemper headers on the road. Okay, well, we'll grab that too. Klaus, no. There we go. There we go. Oh, and you can put different branded ones. Look at that, 375, 390. Cool. And so you can see all these headers. They're all the 390s, the 375s. They're all designed for, Klaus. But they're all made by the same company, right? So here's another one. These are more of these Kemper headers. And now I got the most powerful John Deere that we can buy. I got the biggest engine, so that's why we're doing the big header. If you get the smaller John Deere and you get the small, then you need to get the smaller header. If you get the smaller horsepower rating, when you go to buy these tractors, obviously you can pick what horsepower rating they have. You pick the lowest one. You're going to go with the 360, not the 390. But there's some more Kemper style. All right, the second device that we're going to buy, and I don't know if John Deere specifically has one, so we may have to buy one for another brand. Look through here real quick again. I don't see it. Nope. We have a hole cropper. Now, I don't know if they're just maybe – in America, we don't really do hole cropping, so I would go with the Capello. Obviously, you're not going to put a Krone device on it or a Klaus device, but the Capello is supposed to be compatible with many different brands, I guess. So this is basically a mower is what that is. You're going to use it to mow crops. Last but not least, we have collectors, and we have our John Deere Easy Collector. And we have the Easy Flow for Krone. Once again, you see each one has those are the three different header types like I was speaking about. And then this is a weird one. For those of you that are wondering what this header is, this works with the New Holland. Actually, it'll work with any of them. But what this does is if you want to grow poplars on your field, which is a crop that we almost never do, this will grind those poplars into wood chips. So there's, that's a neat thing if you're into forestry. Now, poplars really aren't forestry necessarily, but this gets a nice swath of poplars and grinds them up and makes wood chips. So if you're into making wood chips, I guess, then that would be the device for you. I'm also going to buy this little Kemper for the, okay, look at that. So this has an attacher for our Lack Attack right there. See these? You got a Russell mat. Oh, that's so cool. You can pick the different brand attachers. Look at that. That's so sweet. That's something that's totally new in the game. So bravo for them. So we can do the Lacotech attacher. So let me see something real quick here. Same thing for this. Maybe I bought some of this stuff wrong. The Capella would be another one I'd be concerned about. No, this is just a Capella. Okay, so now here's a question. Do the bigger ones, like if I do this big 390, can I pick the Lacotech on this one? No. So this one's not for use with the Lacotech, just the small one. And that makes sense because that's going to use less horsepower. So there's, where did these go? We're going to hop over and take a look at them. So once again, these are the different headers, and I'll show you all of these in use because I know it's a little bit overwhelming. Like, what is all this for? You'll see. So what this is this nasty looking thing is a corn header. And what this does is this will shred corn to bits. and you run alongside with another tractor, and that's how these work. Now, in the game, you can attach a tipper to the back of this. Probably the easiest way to operate these is to have tippers attached to the back. If you have as many as 2 tippers attached, it'll fill both of those up. If you go to 3 tippers, it won't fill them up. So if you get, like, let's say we go in here and we buy 3 of these, right? It'll fill 3 of those up. It'll fill 2 of those up. The third one that you're dragging, it will not fill. So you can only do 2 at a time. This is not necessarily realistic operation, though I have seen foragers doing that before. They usually don't pull trailers. What they do is they do the cutting while someone runs alongside them in a tractor and collects. They have a collection wagon. You have special wagons that you use to collect chaff. So these are, let's see, this will, and they'll tell you here, and I'm going to find one first so I can show you. This is an example. This Kawako. Down at the bottom there, you're going to see that this really only holds loose material. It holds that last one to the right at the bottom there, that's chaff. And it holds grass, and it holds silage, hay, wood chips, sugar cane, and hay. Actually, hay is on the right, grass is on the left, so it's grass, bamboo, whatever. Not bamboo, sugar cane. But this is the kind of tipper that you're going to want to pull on your tractor. Now, you have a crone. This is huge crone. One can do it too. You can use a regular trailer too, but realistically, because of the light weight, these tippers or whatever devices, they have moving floors, so they push the product out because chaff can get stuck because it's kind of wet and sticky, and so that moving floor pushes them out. And these are also lighter weight because chaff is not that heavy. So, I mean, it is, but compared to other crops, it's not as heavy. So these are really purpose-built for moving those loose material products. So you'd use the Bergman. This is another one, this Annaberger, Krone. And so we'll get into these trailers in a minute. But if you're doing grass work, you probably, here's the thing. Well, you can hire workers to do fields, I guess. But if you're doing it the way you're supposed to do it, where you're picking up just, and I'll show you, I'm going to go through the process of how they do it in real life so you can see. And then how you might have to do it in game life, because this isn't real life, and this is a little more awkward than real life. All right, so let's go ahead and get this. I'm going to get these headers out to our grass field. And actually, we'll do grass first, because we won't do that, but we're going to put this down. All right, so I'll be right back. Now, as I show you these methods, I'm trying my best to show you realistic ways that they would use these pieces of equipment. So, yes, there are other things that you can do to kind of cheat your way around. Like, for example, that whole cropping head that we're not using yet, but I'll show you how to use it with some wheat or some crop that I find that we can whole crop. When you use that whole cropping head, you can, and it's kind of cheating, but you could just throw that on the front of this and then use it as a mower and skip one of these steps. So here in this, the way that we're setting this up, I'm going to mow and windrow the grass, and then we're going to collect it with this head unit. And we're going to do the same thing with the forage harvester. We'll do it with the Lacotech, and then we'll do it with the forage harvester so you can see it done both ways. But you could technically not use this head, and you could just mow with that other head. Let me show you which one. This Capella Spartan head is designed to mow crop, sorghum, wheat, barley, that kind of stuff. I apologize. A little break in the tutorial. I have a path that goes past the back of my house, and people walk their dogs along there, and then my dog barks, and then these people always go to the fence with their dogs and let them like up against the fence, and then they're like, my dogs are barking at their dogs, and they're just stood there, and it's like, could you not do that? Like, what makes you think that we want to hear all the dogs barking? Like, anyway, but people always do it. They're so weird. Anyway, before I was rudely interrupted by whoever that person was letting their dog bark at my dog, we have this Capella Spartan cutter. Now, what this does, it's supposed to cut wheat and barley. However, little secret, you can also use this to mow grass. Now, it'll turn it into chaff. You still have to collect it and put it into a facility. But in real life, and I don't know why this is, somebody out there might be able to help me out in the comments, but in real life, they do not do that. They don't mow the grass with this and then put it directly in. They use a mower to mow the grass, and then they go back with one of these headers, and I'm going to show you that operation, and collect it with one of these easy up headers. I don't know why they don't just use this mowing directly, because it seems like that would make more sense and save a step, but they don't do it. So, but I was just going to say, you could put this on the front of that John Deere or on the front of this harvester and just run this on the grass and collect grass. But they don't do that in real life. Once again, I'm trying to stick to the way that they do it in real life. So, you know, as best as we can, I'm going to try to make it realistic. So, anyway, I'll be back. All right, so step one to this process is that we need to mow some grass. I've got this special mower kit that windrows. The Vicon kit does it also. And also the Kong's Glide kit, but this one's easy to use. And I'm trying to stay away from mods or DLCs that are excess. What we do when we do our tutorials, I almost always try to go for just base game. That way people that are playing on Xbox or PS4 can follow along. If they don't have the same mods that we have, it's no big deal. So if you're like, yeah, there's a mod that does this, or yeah, there's a mod that does that, we're not using it because it's not accessible to everybody. So I'm trying to keep it so it's easily accessible to all the players that watch this video. If you're on Nintendo Switch, which you won't be because they won't have this on Switch, too bad. But if you're on Xbox X or Xbox S or M or whatever, or PlayStation 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, you can also follow along with what we're doing, because all the equipment that I'm using is the same equipment that you have in your game also. So we stay away from the mods for the most part. If I am going to use a mod, I will let you know, like, hey, we're using this mod, this is where you get it from. And in a tutorial, I will almost never use a mod that is not included in the mod hub, because most of the mods that are in the mod hub in the game are also available for PS5 and 4 and all the other consoles out there. So I will be back. I'm going to get this mowed, and we will see you in just a moment. All right, so I've finished mowing, and I'm going to show you one of the frustrating parts for me of the game. In real life, you would take a tractor like that, hook it up to this, and then you take this, and two people would do this operation. One guy's going to run the forage harvester while the tractor runs alongside him. But in this application, we can't, since FarmSim doesn't support workers picking up bales and that kind of stuff, we can't do that. There's no way we can do that. So we have to drag the trailer to do this operation. So this is the only thing that, unless you have a friend helping you, you know, if you have a friend out there that'll join you and help you with your operation, then you don't have to do this. But this is, once again, I don't want to say that I've seen one video clip on the internet, oops, of a forage harvester, needs to be unfolded, actually doing this. But in general, you don't see it very often. You see them because you're using up tractor or power to drag this thing that you don't necessarily have. It needs to go towards chopping, so you can actually ruin the harvester. But anyway, there it is. So we're going to grab this, and you can see here, we're going to fill this trailer right up using the drag method. And so any of these things that I show you, I most likely will be showing you other tractors pulling the Bergman like they do in real life. But for this one thing, we're going to drag it. But you can do this no matter what crop you're doing. If you want to do corn like this, if you want to do anything like this, you can. Now, I forgot. We didn't put silage additive in. Okay, so these forage harvesters, and I don't know where you put it in on this one. You can buy from the store. It's probably this tank right here. You can buy silage additive, and what it does is it makes more silage. I think it's like 5 or 10% more. Let's take a look here at the shop. I think it's going to be under pallets. There you go. Bon silage, silage additive. And you buy this and you fill your harvester up with it, and I forgot to do that, and I apologize. So before that, It says you can increase your yield. I think the actual increase, it's less than 10%. It's either 10% or 5%, but I'm pretty sure it's 5%. So anyway, I forgot to do that, so I apologize. But you can see here now, we're picking this up, and it's going into the hopper as grass. So if you want to store grass, you can. However, when you go to put it into the silo or the where we dump it, it'll turn into chaff. It just becomes chaff. I think that demonstrates that, once again, 2 players would be the best way to do it, having a tractor pull this trailer. If you have 3 people, you can have 2 people with these trailers. As one person goes to empty the trailer, the other person can continue helping unload the forager. So you also see that, and we have a farm nearby that does that. They have two Fendt tractors and a Kloss Jaguar harvester, and one tractor runs alongside while the other one's emptying, and then they tag team. And that way they keep the forager rolling. And they get it done pretty quick. So here, we're going to do the same thing this time with the Kemper header. And we're going to do it with our John Deere tractor and the Lacotech Forage Header. And once again, this is a nice device because, I mean, honestly, for a couple $100,000, you can get a whole kit. And rather than spending, over almost $1 million on the big forage harvester kit, the only downside is you still need to have like a $400,000 tractor. So while it saves you some things, it doesn't save you everything. But you can use that tractor for other stuff, so that's where this comes in very, very handy. And once again, we're basically doing the same thing. So it just depends on how you want to do it. Once again, I think this is a good way to do it. And I prefer the Forage Harvester. I think the Forage Harvester runs a lot faster doing its job. And it has a lot more power. This once again has, 450, I think, is the tractor. But that my harvester has 700, 800 horsepower. So it's going to do it faster, more efficient. Plus, when we get to corn, and that's where it's going to really come in, that forager is going to run a much larger corn header, which is going to save us a lot of time. This is going to take a lot longer to do it this way. All right, I'm going to collect the rest of this off the field, or at least try to fill up the Bergman as much as possible, and we will put our first chaff into a silo bunker, and you'll be like, what? And then you'll be able to see what we're talking about when I talk about the quote-unquote silo or the silage bunker. We're going to show you all that stuff. So I'll be back in a few moments. All right, we go into phase 2 here, and hang on a second. I didn't realize my OBS was covered. I couldn't see what I was doing. So what we've got here is I'm hole cropping this grass. So this is what I was telling you about, how I never see them doing this. I wanted to show you those so you can see how maybe even with that other device that we were using with the pickup, this is how they would do it in real life. They would go alongside their unit. They would go alongside their harvester using a tractor, and they would collect this way, and that's how they do it in real life. So what you're seeing here is real life operations. All right, so I filled up the trailer. I'm going to show you what to do with the full product. We got, once again, it's grass. So if you want to keep it as grass, you can always just dump it in I don't know what you'd put with it because you can't put it in the silos. You could put it in a building or something. I found out that grass does not rot in this version of the game. I thought maybe it did like it did in the old version of Seasons, but it doesn't. So I'm trying to figure out how to close the... Oh, there we go. All right, so this is used for freeway use to keep the chaff from blowing all over the place, or the grass in this case. But once again, I just wanted to show you that with the mower. I have a feeling it's because grass is low to the ground, and that cutter is really designed for wheat and barley and other whole crops. It's a very inefficient way to do it. Honestly, the last method I'm going to show you is corn, and corn is the best method by far. Because you get so much material from corn. You'll get way more silage from corn. So, but I'm showing you these other available methods so that you can see them working. So the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to put a silo down, and I'll show you this really quick. We're not going to go in depth with making silage, but I'll show you a quick kind of how we do it. Let's go ahead and get the $60,000 bunker. I don't know how much silage we're going to have, but there we go. Yeah, let's go ahead and dump it in there. And so it's left bumper up on the direction pad to open and close that, in case you're wondering. And then because this is not chaff, you're going to have to hold both bumpers down and press Y. And that will start dumping our little plops of grass out into the bunker. Interesting choice of animation. There's our little grass bloppies. Okay, so we're now once it goes in there, you can see it's changed color. It's turned into what we call chaff, and that's what we get from all the other crops. So now we're going to go take a look at whole cropping. All right, so the method that we're employing currently is called whole cropping. What we're doing is we're taking a soybean crop and just chopping it to the ground using our big mower. You can do this to any crop, I believe, except for corn, obviously, or like weird ones like potatoes, any kind of root crop. Sorghum will work. Wheat, barley, oats. Sorry, my brain had to catch up. Obviously, soybean works. Once again, I would say this is your least effective method of getting silage. This is a waste. You're better off harvesting this using a regular harvester and then growing corn and using corn for your chopping. This is just a waste. But it's doable if you're in a pinch and you need, something, for your cows, and it's like, oh gosh, what am I going to do now? Well, you can always destroy the crop that you've grown and whole crop it. I don't know why, like I said, once again, I don't know why farmers would want to do this, unless maybe you live in a region where corn doesn't grow well, and you still need to get chaff for your cows for silage. I don't know. Never seen a situation where this was necessary. It's kind of a weird one, but people do it. All right, why is he not getting going here? All right, there we go. It's too far back. And so this is how you do it in real life. Once again, if you're by yourself and you don't feel like hiring a worker to do the chopping and you don't care if it's realistic or not, just drag this trailer. But what I'm showing you is this is how they do it IRL. They have, a tractor pulling a trailer and the forage harvester doing the foraging. And that is how they do it. Because it gives all the power to the forager. Now, you'll notice here, you don't need digestive. If you look at the bottom there where my chaff is, if you guys remember, when we were doing the grass, we had a situation where we didn't have the additive in there. You need the additive for grass. However, for this crop, you don't. Now, I don't know about for corn. You might need it for corn, but I'm not. We'll see. But anyway, this gives you an idea of how this works. So I think we'll move on, but I just wanted to show you that is what whole cropping is. And we do the same thing. You whole crop corn too, but we use a different header. So anyway, I'm going to head over to the cornfield and get everything set up for that so we can show you the last demonstration here, how to get corn, and then I'll show you how to cover your silage, how to get your silage ready to be covered, because there's a couple steps. And that will cover it for our forage harvester demonstration. Once again, this machine is honestly, the primary purpose of the forage harvester is to make silage. That is, it's making forage, so for your cows, hence the word forage. All right, so we're going to go ahead and do some forage harvesting with the Lakota, or whatever you call this. So you can see how this is done. I feel like it's sitting too high. I need to select the Lakota. There we go. Now it's down. Now, one thing about corn, you don't have to wait till the corn is brown. Once the corn reaches its second to last stage, or its last stage of growth, before it reaches the harvest state, you can harvest it then. So it's still green, but it'll be this tall. Once it reaches its full height, you can harvest it at that point with the forager. So you get it a little bit early as compared to when you have to. I think normally you harvest corn in October, November, but you can get it in September, October, depending on when you planted it. Yeah, so that's easy right there. It shows you that how simple this device is, and it works really well. And once again, this is what you could use. And it's not. Let's take a look at the price again. We're going to look at the headers. $85,000 plus your little corn header. Where is that? I think it must have been this one, the 345. Yep. Yeah, it's this one. 60. So 80 plus 60 is 140, $5,000. And that is way less expensive than, let's say, even the cheapest forage harvester is, let's see here, where are they? Of course, off the menu. The cheapest one is $380,000. So we're at less than half that, but you still have to have a big tractor. But the point is, that big tractor can also do other stuff on your farm. So it's not, if you have one big tractor, you can take care of all your needs. Now you can see here, this does take a lot of power from the tractor, so we're only traveling at 6. And I would say I'd have to do some testing. I just grabbed this tractor. I don't know what the minimums are. Once again, it's kind of a weird thing. They don't put the minimum horsepower on the Lakota. Usually the harvester will have or the device that you're running will have a minimum horsepower required, but this one doesn't. So I'm not sure exactly how that works, but hey, this gets you the corn, right? So I'll be right back with the big forage harvester, and you can see how that just eats this thing whole, and that's what we want also. So let's go ahead and take this thing and put it away, and we'll get the big forage harvester. I'll be right back. So we've got our forager up there with that nice wide 390 Kemper header, and let's see what happens here. Oh, I'm too fast. Whoops. And you can see that takes a nice huge row of corn with us, and that's the whole point of using our larger forage harvester, is we get the job done a lot quicker. If you are doing a whole bunch of whole cropping for a whole lot of cows, well, this is the way to do it. If you need to make a lot of silage, here's the method, and it goes quick. But like I said, that Lakota that hooks on the front, that's not a bad deal. I'm thinking about using that for some of my other farms to make silage quicker for my cows, because that is actually a pretty useful tool. Now the driver AI got stuck. Let's see if we can figure it out. Nope, they just quit. Can't do it. I quit. Talking about my generation. Just give up. When at first you don't succeed, give up and go home and cry and take a good nap. All right, let's see here. So we'll get that swung around. We'll get the rest of this done. And then I will show you what to do with this chaff/silage. Where the frick is she going? What? You moron. Welcome to the new age of AI help. Almost as good as millennials. Sorry, I know you're all millennials. All right, bad joke. All right, I'm back in my tractor. And once again, I want to go cruise control, but I don't have it set. There we go. Now I got it set. So I'm going to collect the rest of this, and I'll meet you guys up at the bunker once we're done. There shouldn't be too much corn left, but you can see the idea. And so once again, that is the whole point of the forage harvester, and really it is to make silage. That's what it's all about. All right, ladies and gents, I've arrived. I've picked up this unit. It's a silage compactor. If you go into the shop and you go to silage compaction or silo compaction, you have all these different devices that you can buy. They all kind of do the same thing. I got the Weber because it was expensive and looked cool, but these all end up probably having the same exact effect as the others. So what we're doing here is compacting our silage. If you notice in the help menu, when I walk in here, it shows that we have 86,000 liters of chaff. That's what we mowed and chopped today. And it's 10% compacted. We need to get that to 100%. So basically that involves driving over and over and over and getting stuck. The problem is I didn't dump this right. On this end I made a mistake, and so we're going to lose some of this outside of the bunker, but it's okay. We need to make it so we can drive in there. So I'm hoping to compact this out a little bit using this device, and then we'll be able to drive in pretty easily and continue compacting this. So we're already 27% compacted. This thing's a big help. Normally I'd have to drive over this like 700 times with my tractor, so use the compaction tools. You might even be able to put one on the front and one on the back if they're non-powered. You can see how quickly this is working. 40%, 43%. What a huge benefit. I'm telling you, man, I had to do one the other day for the grass tutorial that you guys watched, hopefully. And then the hay and grass tutorial, I showed myself doing this, and it literally took me like 40 minutes to get it all compacted. So this just shows how much easier using this device is. I'm not sure what exactly it does, but it probably kind of like does like a pounding action that kind of like pounds it into oblivion. Sweet. All right, I'm going to continue compacting. I'll see you when I'm done. All right, so we have 100% compacted. So if we press the left joystick, that will cover it. And now this will start to become silage, which is our whole goal, right? So we have it fermenting. It's going to run about 2 months. So December, if you have 1 day months, it takes, I don't know if that changes in game if you're doing a 3-day month or a 6-day month. But I think it probably still will take 2 months because it takes about 2 months for silage to be made. I haven't tested that out. I only play the 1-day seasons. So, well, I should say 3-day seasons because you have each month is a day is how I have mine set up. And I think that's how most people do it. But you can make them longer if you want, but that would just take your life sucking away slowly. Anyway, so that is the silage fermenting. And once it's done, you can uncover it, and then you can mix it in with your hay and your straw and feed it to your cows for total mixed ration. So, ladies and gentlemen, I hope sincerely that you enjoyed this video. I definitely had fun making it, and I'm glad that we were able to hopefully help you discover what the Forage Harvester is, what it does. It's like I said, something in game that you may never run across, but if you have a large cow operation, this is can be a very life-saving, time-saving device. So anyway, have a great night, guys. Be sure to subscribe. I will see you in the next tutorial. Bye.